It's delicious. My mom made the best pecan pie ever. Love it. Okay, so we're gonna move right along, and our next storyteller is John Minus, and John is a New Jersey storyteller. He is a regular at the Montclair Film Story Slams, and has a podcast called Geeks of Wrath. So without further ado, let me present to you give me a big round of applause for John Minus.
Hi. Yes, my name is John Minus, which is what English majors call foreshadowing. This is a story about words, and the first word that I ever really had that really had any power over me was minus. Because once I realized what that word actually meant, I was like, oh, this is not good. I thought this was going to be a theme for my life, and it kind of was. This is a story about words. A story about words with words. My name is John Minus. I looked it up, and John is God's gift, and minus is negative, so I'm something God would return. That's the first thing I learned with words. But I was always really fascinated with words. I didn't know how to read when I was born, and that bothered me a lot because my older cousins could read. So I taught myself how to read when I was like 3 or 4, and I read everything I could find. Cereal boxes, shampoo bottles. And my grandmother noticed this, so I don't know if you remember in the 80s, you could get subscriptions for magazines, and you buy one and they send you 7. And they were on all different things, and I read all of them. It didn't matter. My favorites were the Smithsonian and Time and Ebony and Entertainment Weekly. But it wasn't just that. Every week I would read TV Guide cover to cover. And even just the listings, I just wanted to know when all the TV was, because I love TV. I read the Star Ledger all the way through, and I love the Sunday one because we got comic strips in color. And it was just the more words I knew, the more I felt smart. And the bigger words I knew, the smarter I felt. I figured out how to say Quetzalcoatl when I was around 6, and I said it all the time. Because if you know little boys love dinosaurs, and dinosaurs have long names, so I do all the dinosaurs' names. I used to watch TV, I still watch TV constantly, but I used to watch TV when I was under 10 years old, like Moonlighting and not Law and Order, LA Law. Shows kids weren't supposed to be watching, not necessarily that. Kids didn't want to watch, but I watched them because of words. I loved Murphy Brown, and I loved Golden Girls because of words. They used words in such amazing ways, and they were funny, but they were literate, and they switched them around, and they used double meanings. And I loved that. It was like tricks. It was like acrobatics. And I loved designing women because Julia Sugarbaker would give monologues, and they were powerful and fierce, and it would stop the show. And I'm sure she had that in her writer, but still. She wrote them, they wrote them, and she performed them amazingly. And I loved words because words could bring the room to a stop. And I just wanted to know as many as I could. Words are responsible for me finding my people. Because I went to Rutgers, and I didn't really fit in a box, and I wasn't a joiner, because I figure I'm not going to join anything that I have to ask to be your friend. So I wasn't a fraternity person. I wasn't a band person. I mean, if somebody came to me and wanted me, I'm like, okay, you have good taste, but like I'm not going to ask to be your friend. Like that never appealed to me. But I found a school newspaper called The Medium, and the people were freaks. They were awful. And I was like, this is right. And I wrote stories, and I used words in ways they weren't meant to be. And it was fun. It was free. It was kind of what made me me. And I will never take that for granted. That time in college. Words were my therapy. When my mother passed, words helped me eulogize her in a way that she deserved. And I wish I could remember what I said, but I was a little distracted. But everybody said I gave a really great eulogy, you know? And it felt like a good send-off. And it felt like I gave her everything she gave me. And words also gave me the highest compliment I can give anybody, just 6 words. My mother would have loved you. I haven't said to many people, but it's still the highest praise I can give. Yeah. Words led me to a very special person in my life who also loves words. She's a journalist, and she started reading the Chicago Sun-Times when she was 4. And I was like, oh, okay, we go together. We match. We're weird. We're weirdos. I love that part. That words led me to every good person in my life, you know. And words, like I said, were my therapy. Whenever I was feeling libidinous or erotic, I would write sexy stories. And if I was angry, I would write angry stories. And I would write political stories. And every mood I had that I couldn't get out, I had to put it physically on a paper or on the computer by that point. And it was out. And I felt better. And then those words would affect other people. And then in my 30s, I discovered, well, I didn't discover it, but stand-up comedy had already been discovered. But I discovered that I could do it. And I used words to make people laugh, and that was amazing. Because there's so many reasons not to laugh, right? There's so many reasons not to laugh, and I was giving people a reason to laugh that they didn't have when they came in. And that was powerful. It was like a drug. It still is. Heroin. Or cocaine. I've heard. And now words have brought me here with you lovely people. I think the problem with the world is sometime around the Industrial Revolution, we started turning people into numbers. And numbers have done anyone any good. I mean, I hate math. Math has been my enemy forever. The minute I discovered words is the minute I started hating math. And I know some of you might be math people, and shame on you. It's no good. Words are complicated. Words are messy. Language, especially the language I'm speaking, doesn't make any sense. The rules are nebulous and they change constantly, and the words don't mean anything, but every word means something. And people who try and sell you that words don't mean anything are liars, and you should not trust them. Some people don't like words because they can be twisted, but they can be twisted into good things too. That depends more on the person than the words. You don't blame the words. You don't blame the dog, you blame the owner. I think people also are messy and twisted, and we don't mean what we say, and we change all the time. And that's why language fits us. Language is human. Words are human. Numbers are alien. We should get rid of them. No, I'm not kidding. I really hate math. But so if you feel alienated, exchange words with other people, because it's the most human thing you can do. And those are mine.